was a French conductor who recently conducted the Los Angeles Philharmonic, and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm doing a film called Tin Tin." What is that? I said, "Well, it's a little about a boy from a Belgian cartoon." He said, "Oh, you mean Tintin?" So everything is in a vowel sound in the end, getting that right.
Tintin!
Tintin is a first for me. I never did anything to do with a cartoon or an animation, which I've actually always wanted to do.
This was also another first for me. We recorded the score a year and a half ago. Actually recorded the score right after Michael did his cut, and I approved the cut, and Peter Jackson saw the cut. I brought the film to John Williams, who started writing the music and was scoring the film 4 months later.
The process of making those films is something quite different. We recorded some of the music early on when the graphics were just beginning to be drawn, and what I actually hoped to try to do was in some of the action sequences to create maybe what is an old Disney technique of doing the music first and then have the animators animate to the silhouette of what the music is doing based on suggestions from a script. So I was able to do the pirate music and to do some of the music having to do with sleuth and the comedic material with the Thompsons and so on, way, way back before we had anything more than a few little sketches. For whatever unconscious or intuitive reasons, I chose to feature a euphonium, which people would maybe not know, but it's a kind of a very small tuba, accompanied by accordion for the Thompsons theme. And it can make a kind of a silly sound, and at least in my terms of set of references, a period sound, meaning in band concerts, for example, in the 1920s, you might have heard a euphonium concerto, or even as late as the 30s.
Oh, goodness gracious. Mr. Selleck! Dear, okay? Oh, Bella. Are you all right? Are you all right, sir?
So the score was put together in a somewhat different way. Some of the earliest scenes that I did with a very small orchestra because we did have the opening credits. I did 2 or 3 versions of that thing. The present one that we have with that sort of funny jazz combination, choreographing all of his moves and so on, and other attempts which involved similar themes. And we kept coming back to this 1920s, early 1930s European jazz, and it was such fun. Well, Snowy's music is a quick dance, I guess you can say, and Snowy is a very contributive character in the piece. He can even steal some scenes if you're not very careful about it, or if you deliberately do it, he will do it very successfully. For me, he always provided a lightness and a tempo and a quickness, chasing the cat, over the fire engine, finding his way to Carol Boujan, all of this. Snowy lightens it right up for us, so he reminds us that actually we're having fun with this. And Snowy contributes a lot in that way, musically, for me. He gave me a place to go to make things light. That's the essential role musically for me, one of contrast.
But they didn't reckon on one thing. Sir Francis was a haddock, and a haddock always has a trick up his sleeve.
Well, this transgenerational experience that Haddock has is probably something we'd all like to have. We could remember what our grandfathers were doing on a certain day in June and actually feel it in the genetic swirl of things. But it was certainly fun to try to link the present Haddock with Sir Francis. Cutting back and forth is something we can actually do musically. I mean, you can hear Haddock's theme, you can hear Sir Francis's material, and actually mix them up and maybe suggest in Haddock's mind, or when he's on the screen, another suggestion of what Sir Francis was and what his energies were and so on. It can be a nice opportunity for music to transpose itself from one time frame to another time frame. Just musical fun for me.
Well, John's scores are never eclectic. John's scores are just the opposite. John's scores pull together a style or a tone musically. So John is the bonding agent that unifies all the disparate, eclectic elements of a movie and makes all of us who work with him so grateful for him.